60 or something. But all right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to This Week in JRPGs. We've got a full crew today. Back as always is Jack. Welcome back, Jack. Good to see you. And joining us this week to help us talk about the latest in JRPGs is Mr. David Ving. David, thanks for joining us.
Hey, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yes, and this is it was going to be kind of a soft week news-wise, but then we had something very interesting drop last night. So I kind of wanted to kick off the discussion with that. So yeah, basically last night, one of the more infamous, well, I don't want to say infamous, he's just a good old Persona fan, Faz or Phase, I don't know how
I'm gonna go with Faz. Scrambled Faz, apparently.
Yeah. Be quiet, Siri.
I have Siri turned off on my telephone. I do not like whenever technology talks to me. No, do not talk back to me, technology. I did not appreciate it from my children whenever I talk. I do not appreciate it from my computers either. You're off. You're dead to me, Siri. Dead.
Yes, go away, girl.
Yes.
So he was the first, as far as I could tell, to dig this information up. And so basically P4RE.jp was registered, and Atlas registered P3RE.jp 2 years ago, and then 3 months later, Persona 3 Reload was revealed. And so people are kind of like dubbing this Persona 3 Rewind, which I think is perfect. I'd be surprised if that wasn't the name of the game. So let me kick it off to you first, David. What do you think about a potential Persona 4 remake?
I think it's inevitable. I mean, this is Atlas that we're talking about. They remake, and we know it. They did it with Persona 3. They had the regular one on the PlayStation 2. Then they had the Fez one also on the PlayStation 2. Then they did the PSP one. Then they re-released the stupid thing and like a remaster, and then they did the Reload. Like, my God, how many remakes were there? So I just think duh, they're going to do this for Persona 4 as well. And it's just way too coincidental that this is happening. And also, one of the singers for Persona 4 went on Instagram a couple of months ago, and she teased that, oh, I'm going to be working on a project, or I'm happy to be back working on this project. And people are like, I wonder what project. And then they did comments of like song titles of Persona 4, like song titles and stuff. And she hearted all the ones that had song titles from Persona 4.
Oh,
but she
wow.
didn't heart
Okay.
the other comments. So it's just very interesting.
Okay, this is starting to smell like Persona 9, Final Fantasy 9, like the worst kept secret in the industry. Because I think,
no kidding,
like after Persona 3 sold really well, everybody figured, okay, Persona 4 is next because a lot of the assets and stuff are already done. Yeah, Jack, what's your take? What do you make of a potential Persona 4 remake?
I think it's going to be great. I mean, like Persona 3 Reload was fantastic. It was really, really well done. It didn't feel like they phoned it in at all, which I did kind of feel whenever they had previously released the 3 and 4 remaster collection. It felt kind of but the Reload was excellent, and I assume they're going to deliver just as well for, if we're calling it Rewind, let's go with that. I'm excited to play it.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I think anyone watching my channel might know Persona 4 is my favorite game of all time. Even before Golden, like I played the OG PS2 version, and I'm like, oh, this game is something special. And then it's amazing that this leaked, and there's already crazy discussions on Twitter. Like, people are like, we don't need a Persona 4 remake. It looks fine. I'm like, have you looked at Persona 4? Even Golden, like, it's old looking. That game came out in 2009. Like, it's almost 20 years old, you know? And people keep saying like, oh, like, let's remake Persona 1. And it's like, I don't think people understand how different Persona 1 is. That's just like a straight up dungeon crawler. It doesn't have any of the social link stuff. And I don't really think, I just don't think people are going to like 1.
It would just need to be completely 100% rebuilt from the ground up to be a Persona game. But I feel like they wouldn't do that. They might release it as a collection, you know, do 1 and then do the 2 versions of 2 as well in some sort of collection. But I just, at this point, they already have the Persona brand so established as what it is, they wouldn't want to go backwards and confuse their fans with what Persona used to be.
Yeah.
Unless they, like I said, completely 100% rebuilt it from the ground up to be completely unrecognizable from what it is. Kind of like a Romancing Saga 2 remake like we saw.
Yeah. You know what would be hilarious is if they ended up doing Persona 2 and it's like, how are you going to handle Hitler being in the game?
No shit. You know? I mean, I'm shocked that flew in the first place in the 90s. Give me a break. I'm shocked that came through at all. But, it was just so niche. Nobody knew. Nobody, it was just whatever. And then nowadays it would never fly with the internet. Oh, it take was one person to go through, it was like 1 million moms or whatever to come through, like, oh my God. And yeah, that would just be into that.
so here's an even this brings up an interesting question too. So Hank FF7 brings this up. He's like, I think I just want Persona 6 now. 2016 was when P5 released, and that was damn near a decade ago. So here's the grand question. So Jack, do you think Persona 6 comes out first? Oh, well, here's an even better question. Do you think Persona 6 gets revealed first, or do you think Persona 4 Remake gets revealed first?
I think the remake does. Look,
yeah.
Timing wise,
you're right. You're right. I think
you want to overlap these, and so the fact that they're doing this now, that they're buying the website, and we can assume like Atlas stuff leaks all the time, and it leaks with like 100% accuracy. So they knew that this was going to get released and it was going to get leaked and whatever else. The only way to do that now is so that you can push back Persona 6 even more. And I mean, I don't know how long that game is going to take, but yeah, I think that the Persona 4 game not just gets revealed, but also comes out first.
Yeah. What do you think, dude?
Right. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, as crazy as that sounds, because like I just wonder what's taking Persona 6 so long. I mean, I know it's not the main team. They all moved over to do Metaphor, so it's a new team. So maybe it's really taking them a hot second to get this thing figured out. But I know people are getting impatient. Like if you look at this, just look at the first account. He has this whole account, 42,000. When the hell does Persona 6 come out? Like there's so many people that are just like counting the days, literally. Like, when do we get Persona 6? And I love that they already have the color picked out for green, which I assume it's green also.
It is green. It is green. They released some artwork with like the protagonists lined up with like paint or whatever, or graffiti or something like that behind them.
Yeah.
And each paint can represented each color. And then right next to the Persona 5 protagonist, there was not a protagonist. There wasn't a person, but there was a color of green paint. So it was green.
Yeah, I saw that as well. I just I imagine it's going to be green because we haven't done green either. Yeah. Like 3 was blue, 4 was yellow, 5 was red, and then I think even the older ones, like one was purple, and then like Innocent Sin was like orange, kind of. So, yeah, I think they've got green is the only one that kind of makes sense at this point. So
some people were saying, nature, rebirth. They were thinking Hawaii maybe. They were also saying, because green represents growth, it could be a grown-up past. You don't know. You don't know.
That's true. Cool. Well, until that day comes, we're just going to have to keep on guessing and checking the website leaks. But the next one, I think David will be very excited about this one. But the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters have sold beyond 5 million copies, which
they have.
It's really cool. And that's, this is not like, so here, this is an article from Gematsu. So it says that it's topped 2 million, or it sold 2 million more units since the game came out, or since they last updated sales numbers. And so I don't know how they calculated this. I don't know if it was based on each individual game. I imagine that's probably how they counted it, versus like selling entire collections worth. But still, 5 million copies for these old ass Final Fantasy games is like pretty incredible.
Games in the 80s and the 90s. Yeah. 80s and the 90s. Retro is big. Retro is strong. Remakes are huge business. And the people that grew up, this is the thing. People that grew up in the 80s and the 90s, like all of us, we want the nostalgia, and it's a lot of fun to go back and play these games, especially with the quality of life features. And we have the money now to do it. We have the jobs. We can go and we can relive our childhood. And, the world is such a depressing place. So it's nice to escape into something like this and escape back into our childhood when things were better and peaceful and nicer and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, this is great news. And hopefully, and I think that it's pretty obvious, that Square put out Final Fantasy 16, which only sold 3.5 million copies. And then we have remakes of 80s and 90s RPGs selling 5 million copies. And then we have HD 2D games, Octopath Traveler, all these other HD 2D games coming out that are selling like hotcakes. And that they're so much cheaper to produce simply because they are HD 2D and they're not, high fidelity, high def, whatever's. It just makes sense for Final Fantasy 17 to maybe go back to the basics, maybe go back to the roots. The crystals are coming back, like they said in Final Fantasy 9 when they went back to the basics, back to the roots last time. And they actually said that was going to be the last time that they went back to the roots, and then they went off into Weirdo Land. So
16 did that. I mean, 16 was kind of about the crystals too, in a way. I mean, not quite the same, but and it's funny that you're bringing up like what they might do with 17. That's kind of what we talked about last week about the potential of it being an HD 2D game. I think that would be cool.
I think that'd be really cool because honestly, like, they invented the HD style. They're the ones who invented it, and everybody and their mother loves it. The Suikoden Starleap game is going HD 2D.
Yeah.
Every single indie game under the sun is going HD 2D. And if Square Enix really wants to cement themselves as, hey, we're the ones who did this, we're the ones who made it, like, yeah, they can cement that and saying that, Octopath Traveler followed by Triangle Strategy, which is true, but it's not going to really resonate with everybody until they see something like, whoa, Final Fantasy 17 is HD 2D. Wow, Square Enix really did this.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, Jack, did you play any of the Pixel remasters, or do you have any affinity for those first 6 Final Fantasy games?
Absolutely. I had never played 2 and 3 before, and so I got to play through those. And of course, like 4, 5, and 6 are just wonderful. They're wonderful, and in my opinion, they get better with each entry. 6 is one of my favorite games of all time, and so yeah, I got to go back and play those. I really enjoyed those.
Yeah, I think it was just a good way to, especially with all the extra like accoutrements, like you can, double XP, or even I think it might be 4 times XP, and then
Up
you can
to
speed
4
it up.
times XP and heal, and you can speed up.
Oh,
even
it makes
ATB and job classes and all that. Yeah.
It makes playing those first 3 so much more tolerable because, like, let's be honest, the first handful are like really boring. Like, it's fun.
2.
Like, yeah, 2 is most people's least favorite.
Dumpster fire. God.
but for me, I kind of like marathon them all. Like when they came out, I just kind of played one after the other. And the one that really surprised me was 4 because I had never played 4, but I was really surprised at like how much that game brought out emotions in me. Like, I think we can spoil these old games, like not super big ones. Let's just say, I'll keep it vague. There's a character that you think goes away, but then returns in Final Fantasy IV. Do you know who I'm talking about?
There's like a million characters.
A certain magic user.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes it any better, but it's in the middle of a fight, and I was like, "Oh, this person's back." Okay, I thought you were gone, but I was like emotionally invested in that character, like because that was one of my favorite characters. And then they came back and they were like grown up. I was like, "Oh, okay, interesting." Yeah. So I was, and then even the intro of Final Fantasy IV is like crazy. I'm like, okay, like they're doing stuff, and like I was surprised at how well they could tell stories, even with those the simple pixel graphics. But yeah, huge congrats to Square, like totally well deserved. Get Final Fantasy Tactics out there. What are you doing?
Well, that's the other worst kept secret in the industry. So
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully sooner rather than later. And then just to kind of dovetail off that, I guess now Final Fantasy, the series has sold over 200 million copies. And I don't know if that counts spin-offs or if we're just talking about the core series. They didn't really specify. By the way, that's
I would
200 million
imagine
copies.
spin-offs. I would imagine if they're going to sit there and they're going to say, they're going to want that number to be as high as possible. So I would imagine spin-offs. So.
That's true. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So congrats to Square. This next one really bums me out because I had high hopes for this one and they both looked great, but the double Kickstarter games, Fantasia and Penny Blood, both got essentially indefinitely delayed. And so for anyone that's not familiar with what these games are, basically it's the same teams behind Wild Arms and Shadow Hearts. And in their latest Kickstarter update, they basically said that they're delaying the games to like an unspecified date. And usually they were doing monthly updates, and now they're going to, push updates to every 2 or 3 months, depending on like what's relevant. The thing that is really surprising to me about both of these games is that they're not a single publisher wanted to publish these games. And I just don't understand that. Like, I don't know what the scope or I don't know what the potential amount of money they were asking for, but I can't imagine like an Xseed or an NIS America, like nobody wanted to publish these. Like, that's shocking to me. So like,
I don't get it.
I don't either. Like,
especially
what do you
because
think?
Xseed was the one who used to work with Wild Arms. Xseed was the publisher for Wild Arms back in the day, and Xseed is still in business. So you would think that these people, at least the ones who are working for Fantasia, still have like an in with Xseed. And I thought, I'm not entirely up to date on this, but I thought that Fantasia still had a publisher, but it was Penny Blood that didn't have a publisher, that they couldn't get funding for Penny Blood. But then I also heard that Fantasia was supposed to be a one-off game, whereas Penny Blood was supposed to be a continuation of a series for multiple games. But then nobody wanted Penny Blood, and they all wanted Fantasia. But now to see that both of them are being both delayed indefinitely, like, I supported this Kickstarter. What the hell? Give my money back. Like, this is bullshit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what in the world?
So
and here's the other thing. Ayuden Chronicles. That was created by the creator of Suikoden. And, they got published and they had a breakout Kickstarter as well. It's 100% equal. Like, Suikoden, Ayuden Chronicles, Fantasia, Wild Arms, Penny Blood, Shadow Hearts. It's all the same thing. So why did Ayuden Chronicles get tons of money and a Kickstarter and a publisher and sold like hotcakes? So like, why wouldn't these games do that too? What in the world? I don't get it. I'm pissed.
Yeah, it's super strange. Like, what do you think, Jack? Like, why do you think they haven't been able to garner like publisher interest? What do you think happened?
I'm not sure, but my wife is calling me from the other room where she has the baby, so I have to go check on that. I'll be back in just a minute.
Sure.
Baby comes first.
Yes. Okay, so somebody left a comment earlier, and I wanted to read this. So this is from Acebreaker7 on Discord, and he says, was the double Kickstarter for these games a red flag? It felt odd to not have individual Kickstarters for each game. Now, I agree. I did think that was really weird. Like, I don't know why. I don't know why they didn't each have their own. I mean, when you do something like that, that almost says to me like, oh, we're not confident enough that each individually they could get their own. So we're like splitting it up. Hello, baby. Hello.
Cute. Hannah, say hi.
Hannah's going to join us.
Yeah, she's going to join in for a little bit.
Yeah. So Jack, I was just reading a comment about that was having these games as a double Kickstarter instead of each of them having their own individual Kickstarter, kind of a red flag. So I'll kick it back to you. Like, what do you make of this whole situation?
There's something going on the back end that changes the calculus, because on its face, it seems like both of these games would be easy pickups for publishers. Like, anybody would just be like, yeah, look, this has groundswell support. Everybody wants these. Everybody loved Wild Arms. Everybody loved Shadow Hearts. We want to bring this stuff back. We have the teams. We have everything going for us. All the screenshots, everything looks good. So what's actually happening on the back end that the publishers won't even touch it, right? And like, because I don't know if they're trying to shop this around to all the publishers, but like Square Enix puts out crap every year. They publish like genuine terrible games every
Various
single year.
Day Life.
Right.
Oh yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
And so like, look, if even the companies that publish absolute garbage are just not touching this, then there's something going on the back end. I don't know if it's part of like bad financial negotiations, or if whenever the publishers actually look at the alpha demos of the game playing and they're just like, oh, this is terrible. No, we can't. No, like this is going to get yanked from Steam. We can't publish this, right? I don't know what it is, but there's clearly something on the back end that we aren't privy to that's changing the whole thing for the publishers.
But like I mean, we're game reviewers. We have played our fair share of garbage games. Like, and they just keep on coming out, you know? And like, not to get ahead of myself, but a certain publisher that we will be talking about shortly is going to be publishing 5 games. And all 5 of these games look pretty fucking terrible. So like, they would be better off publishing these 2 games instead of those 5 games, because people actually want these 2 games. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, what is the deal? I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me, especially because you have the original developers, the original team behind this. So it's not like some Joe Schmo in the basement somewhere that no one's ever heard of. It's actually the people who did this the first time around. So there's pedigree here. So like, what's going on?
Here's my thing. Like, I was more surprised that Arm Fantasia didn't get picked up, because like Wild Arms had 5 games. It had 1 or 2 remakes. I can't remember. It had a strategy RPG spinoff.
It had Altered F, which was the remake of the first one, and then it had a strategy RPG.
Wasn't there one called like XF or something like that?
Yeah,
or
that was the strategy
okay.
one. Crossfire
okay.
XF, yes.
Crossfire, that's right.
With the best villain ever. If you haven't played that game, oh my god, and you want a villain that you just love to hate, the evilest bitch in the world, you need to play it. It's so good. I love her.
Okay. I'll have to look into it more. But Shadow Hearts, I don't know if that ever sold well. I know there was 2 games and they were only on PS2, and they're like beloved, but I don't know if they actually sold well. I genuinely have no idea.
There were 3 games in the Shadow Hearts series, plus Kodelka, which was like a prequel to
Kodelka. Yeah,
there was Kodelka, which was like a prequel to it, and then Shadow Hearts was a spinoff of Kodelka. Shadow Hearts 1 and 2 was pretty much immediately following one another, and then Shadow Hearts 3 from the New World took place obviously in the New World, so it didn't have that much to do with the previous 2 games as far as following the same characters or whatever. But great series. Like, I'm a history nerd, and you know, getting to play in the 1920s and 1910s and World War One and all this stuff, and an alternate history of the world with magic and vampires and all this crap. I love it.
Yeah, unique setting. I mean, no other JRPG really takes place in a time period like that. So, a real shame. I'm hoping they can figure this out, or like, and when they say they've tried, I really wonder if they've tried. You know, like Jack said, like there could be other things behind the scenes that they're not telling everybody. They're like, we only tried to ask Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo, and they didn't want it, so we're just giving. Like, come on. Like,
no, this is embarrassing for them. Like, give me a break. When was this Kickstarter live in the first place? Wasn't it like 2003 or 2023 or something? Like, it's been a hot minute.
Yeah, and like, they haven't shown any gameplay.
Years now. Give me a break. Like, we should be seeing trailers and stuff by now. Not this crap. Like,
exactly. Like, I'm not a Kickstarter backer, David, but do they show gameplay as updates? Like, do they show any of that?
They showed a couple of little trailers. It's mostly just pictures and excuses. It's just like, I quit reading the update emails because every single one's the exact same. It's just excuses.
That's a bummer. Well, you know, here's hoping they can get it figured out. Like, we're about to enter the summer season of announcements and stuff. Maybe they show up to some of these events, talk to the right people, something good happens, but you know, you never know. But
maybe they did something on the way out of their old companies and they got blacklisted and blackballed.
That could be.
Maybe they burned their bridges whenever they left their former companies or something. I don't know. There's something going on here. This is weird. Because like I said, We see shit ass games all the time. All the time. Number one, being published. Number two, even being translated and localized into English and everything. So like that Slime Aseki game or whatever that came out last year.
Oh yeah.
That sucked, you know. And that not only got released in Japan, but it also got the money injected it to get translated over here. So why did Slime Aseki come over here, but these two games can't? Like, what is going? There's weird.
Yeah, even if it was like burning bridges, the truth is that like personal feelings. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was gonna say. Money talks. Personal feelings don't matter to the company, and if the games looked like they were just gonna print money, publishers would be picking it up.
Yep.
So either the team is not actually shopping it around like they said, or the thing that they're bringing around is just a shit offer.
Yeah.
It almost seems like a money laundering scheme at this point.
Might be.
That happens with a lot of Kickstarter games. They just never come out, which sucks. But
either put up or shut up. Give me a game or give me my money. The end.
The end. Yep. Well, speaking of games, Nippon Ichi announced 5 new games, and we were talking about this earlier. And they don't look great. So I'll just kind of slowly walk through these. Now, some of them are RPGs, not all of them are. But we've got this first one. So if I'm basically only showing screenshots because I actually watched the presentation, there really isn't gameplay. So if you guys are like, oh no, show the video, there's really nothing to show.
There's no trailer.
Yeah, I don't even know why they did this, to be honest. Maybe they're trying to recruit people. Usually when companies announce games early like this, it's to try to recruit people to work on the games. So maybe that's why they did this. But anyway, so the first one is called Curse. It's supposed to be a dark dungeon RPG centered around the concept of curses. The player takes on the role of an adventurer tasked with saving a town plagued by a curse while exploring dungeons filled with hidden treasures. However, in the dungeons, curses can suddenly befall the player. Treasure chests, traps, or certain locations. Curses are not just a disadvantage, but if they're brought back to the town, they can be used to strengthen the player. So players need to decide how long they can endure the curse as they press on. This kind of sounds like Darkest Dungeon in a way.
Like it's just a dungeon crawler
basically,
where treasure chests curse you randomly, and it makes it sound like so number one, dungeon crawlers and like roguelikes and things like that are kind of hellacious in and of themselves, let alone you being like, oh my gosh, I finally got a treasure chest. I finally get to get a potion to heal myself because I'm like next to dead, only for the treasure chest to be, ha, bitch, you're dead. You know, like nobody wants it. It sucks. Like
how does this sound to you, Jack? Appealing at all? Did you play anything like Darkest Dungeon or anything like that?
It sounds like, honestly, it sounds like something that would be like a free to play mobile game, and then like, yo, for you can get rid of your curse for only 99 cents or so. Like it sounds like it has a little bit of appeal, but mostly in like a something you could play for 30 minutes and not have to think about it kind of appeal. Like I wouldn't actually sit down on the sofa and be like, I can't wait to see what curses I get to, like, right? Like,
exactly.
I mean, maybe if they kind of turned it on its head, where you can, I don't know, maybe the curses are actually buffs or something, and you can equip the curses, and you can upgrade the curses, and you can have like, I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud or whatever. Almost like a job classes thing with curses. I don't know. Like that would be somewhat appealing to me, maybe. But like dungeon crawling and trapped chests, and yeah, that sucks. Like,
let's see. There's a little bit more information. So it does say it's traditional command based with turn-based battles. Split the party into front and back. The basic classes.
Yeah, this is Odyssey.
Well, they have those. What's that dungeon crawling series they have? It's like Labyrinth of Galleria, the Moon Society, or whatever. Those are actually not bad. Like I'm usually not into like these straight dungeon crawlers, but those games do like really unique stuff where you can like break walls and like swim and stuff. They're actually kind of cool, but yeah, I mean, it's not gonna blow your mind by any means.
No, I mean if you played one dungeon crawler, you've played them all.
Yeah. Okay, this next one's called Gobble. Let's see. It's a side-scrolling action game. Originated.
I
know Gobble. My God,
Gobble. Give me a break.
Oh, this is interesting. So it came from NIS's internal competition, the NIS Festival. So the game was conceived by an employee in their second year, and they're now serving as the game's manager. That's interesting.
Please
And
tell me you get to play as a turkey.
Oh, that would be hilarious. So they said past winners have been games like the Yamawari Night Alone, the Liar Princess. Okay, so those kind of like cutesy kind of games. Interesting. This looks like concept art. Yeah. Okay, so this is like some very basic. The art style looks kind of neat, but again, until we see gameplay, it's like impossible to know.
No, you've no idea what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see.
It's something like a Kirby sort of game where you kill monsters and you absorb their abilities or something like that. It's very Kirby-ish. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. It says the game set in a world that should have found peace after the defeat of the Demon King. The protagonist encounters a talking sickle during a sudden monster attack. The sickle, if they form a duo, the key mechanic is predation. By consuming enemies, the sickle can steal their abilities. Yeah, like you said. Okay, so it's very Kirby-like. This sickle. So that's interesting. We have to see gameplay though. Who knows?
So to me, this one actually looked the coolest just because if the concept art is actually the graphics of the game, so if it has that like kind of hand-drawn feeling art style, that would be a very cool feel to it.
Yeah.
So I actually hope that they would keep that.
It looks like they're in that top picture, like the sickle turned into an umbrella or something, and maybe he's floating or something like that.
Yeah, that's kind of what it looks like. Yeah, I agree. Okay, so the next game, Kyoran. I'm not even sure if I'm saying that right.
Don't ask me.
Yeah. Okay, this looks like kind of the standard Disgaea style art, kind of. It's an action RPG developed by the main staff behind Disgaea, so there you go. One of its distinct traits is its deep character development and side activities that you would not typically expect from an action RPG, including Disgaea style features like level caps to 9,999 and dealing over 100 million damage. Okay. The game is set in a vast world where various monsters vie for dominance. The mercenary protagonists use their weapons and skills to clear out monsters before taking on a giant boss. Okay, so it's a video game. Got it. Outside of the character development, the game has various other elements reminiscent of Disgaea, such as the ability to befriend monsters and fight alongside them in battle using monsters as weapons. All I gotta say is I hope this was better than The Witch and the 100 Knight, because those games were just bad or just not good.
Yeah.
So basically you're a guy that fights monsters. Cool.
If this game were going to be good, don't you think they would have a description for it? Because like this feels like somebody was just handed these pictures and was like, write a description of the game, and they were like, oh, it's a fucking video game.
Yeah. It sounds to me like just like a side-scrolling action game where they're like, people like big numbers. Okay, instead of 10 damage, let's make it 100 million just because. Like, to me, numbers just lose all meaning whenever you get up that high. It's like, give me a break, who cares? So it's just stupid. It's just,
Yep. Okay, we got a few more. This next one, Renzu, is a horror adventure game. Okay, so again, the game portrays curses as pure fear. The protagonist, I know, more curses. The protagonist is a reporter for an occult magazine who collects and writes about terrifying urban legends and rumors. One day, after hearing a rumor about a death curse, the protagonist heads to a haunted location where they encounter a terrifying phenomenon and become cursed. As the countdown to death begins, the player must search for clues to solve the curse's mystery. The curse grows stronger as the investigation progresses. Will the player be able to escape the looming death curse that gets closser? It sounds like an interesting premise.
It sounds like a visual novel to me.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, it looks like it. Again, we're going off these very basic pieces of concept art. But I mean,
it's like a horror visual novel. Scroll up and see what the genre is. I can swear it's a visual novel.
Horror
adventure. Okay.
That might just be visual novel though, because you count like Monkey Island is like a point and click adventure and stuff like that. Like, depending on what you call adventure,
anything can be an adventure game. Atelier Yumia could be an adventure game. You go on an adventure,
Exactly.
I don't even know what that means anymore. All right, and then let's move to the last one, Shinigami Hime. So Death Princess, I believe, is what that I think that translates to, if I know my Japanese right.
I don't. People were telling me in the comments what it meant, and I think it was Death Goddess Princess.
Okay.
But at the same time, I'm like, I don't know Japanese, and I don't really care. So
I don't know Japanese, and I don't care. Okay, so if it's the series and the Liar Princess and the Blind Prince and the Cruel King and the Great Hero, those looked cute, but I've never played them.
they're cute, and I played them, but they're so like 5-year-old girl. Like they're not. They're very, very young. Yeah, it's
okay. Okay, so like in the previous two games, it's a monster and a human. The game features Sayaka Oda's signature hand-drawn graphics and portrays a darker, more unusual world compared to the previous titles. Focuses on young girls suffering from trauma, whose altered picture book worlds are haunted with a strange library. This sounds potentially not safe for work. To return from picture book worlds to the human world, the player must collect memory fragments scattered throughout the picture book. This is done by using powers of a goat monster, which can eat and destroy the picture book world, and a girl who can alter the paper-made backgrounds within the book's world. So, I mean, visually it looks nice.
And behind her, like that freaky ass thing. I know.
She's reading a book with a chocobo.
I know, it looks like it. Chocobo with 4 eyes.
Like with both of its eyes on one side of its head.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, these all sound, they're just like, this seems like a pitch meeting that they decided to make public. I don't know why they shared this.
It's just kind of like, oh, I guess that these games will sell okay. Like, okay, we were talking about this a while ago. They were saying that Nice, just Nice, not Nisa, just Nice, Japan was struggling financially. Nisa, Nice America, was doing really, really, really well because Nisa was selling not just the Nice games, but also Falcom games, and they were branching out and translating these other games, the Ease games and the Trails games and things like that. So they were selling more than just Nice games. Nice in Japan is only selling these. So it's no wonder why Nice in Japan is struggling, because these look like hell. So
yeah, the internally developed games have never been amazing, and they always try like these weird whacking ideas. Like I know they just put out another Phantom Brave. There was that like cooking dungeon crawler game. I forget what that was.
I think. Yeah.
No, not Cuisinier. It was.
Oh, was it different?
Like they made it themselves. This came out a couple years ago, but it's like.
Oh, I know what it was called, like Scavenger Hunt, Monster Menu,
Monster Menu. That's it. Monster Menu. That's it.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
And again, it's just okay. Like whenever I look at these games, I'm like, they're fine. There's nothing like offensively bad about them. But also, the games market has never been more competitive. You kind of need to step your game up, if you want to stand out. So
it's like I could spend my $50 on that Monster Menu dungeon crawling game, or I could spend my $50 on Silent Hope, another dungeon crawling game, which is infinitely better. So which one am I going to buy? I'm going to buy Silent Hope. Duh. Yep.
And just to kind of point out what put an exclamation point on what you said, Acebreaker said most NIS Japan games don't even chart top 20 in Japan, which is like really bad because most there's not a lot of games that come out. It's usually like the same games kind of hang around the top 10, like the predictable stuff like Dragon Quest and Pokemon and Monster Hunter and whatever. So the fact that they can't even compete with old games is like not good. And I feel like it's been like this for a long time though. And I don't know if they refuse to improve their games or they just don't have the talent, which I honestly let's just keep it real.
They have the talent because they're making all these different games. So they must have large teams or enough people because they're making all these games simultaneously because they're all coming out in 2025 and 2026. So they have to be working on these games simultaneously. Yeah. But I think what they're doing is they're taking their employees and they're splitting them into teeny tiny teams that can't make a decent game. And I also think that, they have Disgaea, which is fine and dandy and all that, and they're milking that. That's a strategy RPG. Strategy RPGs are already niche. It's a strategy JRPG, so it's a niche within a niche. What they need is just a regular, traditional JRPG that they can create a series off of, a Final Fantasy, a Dragon Quest, a Tales of games. They need something like that, something that is standard that people would want to go back to. And maybe if they scale back some of these other crumb bum games and they actually, created one good RPG that people be like, wow, this one's really good. I can't wait for the sequel. Then it might turn their fortunes around. But instead, they're just spitballing. They're throwing 5 things at a wall and hoping that one hits. And I don't think any of these are going to hit. I just don't.
I don't either. And the real shame is like their like signature internal art style is like really good. Like I love their signature art style is really good. And even like they've kind of evolved from the pixel to the 3D models, and I think they look good. Even like Phantom Brave, I thought the actual character models looked at least unique and stylish. And yeah, you're right. Like it'd be nice to have like a traditional JRPG where like we're walking around towns, we're getting into turn-based combat. Like,
yep.
It would be cool to do that.
I mean, a lot of people are harking, I know I am at least, for the return of turn-based combat and traditional world maps and going into a dungeon and going into a city and climbing a tower and all that traditional stuff. No one's doing it. Why doesn't Nice do it?
Yeah, might as well.
Seems simple enough. They can make it 2D, whatever. They can make it cheap. They could do it, but they just won't because they're too busy making, I don't know, little girls getting eaten up by goat monsters in a library. Like,
oh God. Yeah. Jack? What do you think NIS should be doing with their time and resources?
I don't know, man. But whenever you were talking about whether or not they have the talent, the fact that these games are the things that they're making tells me that no, they don't. They don't. Like they might have people, but they clearly don't have like top level talent, because every one of these concepts that we just went through is 10% of a game. Like it's super underbaked. None of these feel fleshed out. They don't feel like they're gonna be something for people to latch onto. These all feel like baby's first game made in RPG Maker. Nothing here genuinely feels like it's being made by a professional game company, and you're going to keep on struggling financially until you actually put out something that people are like, wow, I can't wait to play this. I can't wait to tell my friend about this. I can't wait to experience this, to feel this, to whatever. There's no excitement. It's just nothing. There's no there for any of these.
There's nothing here that we're going to be talking about in the, like, everything that they put out last year. Like, I can barely even remember it, and I do this for a living, for God's sakes. So like, if nothing's memorable, nothing will stand the test of time. These are all just flash in the pan games. They might sell for the very first week or two, and then people are gonna be like, what's that? What? No one's going to remember them. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
This is the longest conversation any of these games will ever get.
Thank you.
You're not wrong. Oh God. Okay. So let's kind of move on to the creme de la creme this week. So we have 2 gentlemen in this chat that both played a significant amount of Atelier Yumia. And let's talk about it. So, Jack, I know you said you put in 80 hours, right? So give us for anybody that hasn't watched the review on the channel, give us your high-level thoughts. What did you think of Atelier Yumia?
I loved it. Like, I had an absolute blast playing it. And there were problems, there were complaints, but they are small in comparison to the game as a whole. Overall, I thought that the fun factor was really there. I thought that they knocked it out of the park as far as just creating something that people want to play, that keeps you driving forward, going to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. It never felt like, oh, shit, do I have to go out and do this thing again? Which I sometimes get with the Atelier games, because like if you go back to go craft something in the studio and then you're like, oh, but I don't have this material, and like, oh, where was that thing again? I have to go back out. They improved the quality of life so much in this game that you never have that feeling of dread or trepidation as you're trying to go back to stuff. It just flows and it feels great. I loved it.
Nice.
I'm just gonna say that we are not getting one Xenoblade released this week. We are getting 2 Xenoblades released this week because this game, it's Xenoblade. It's literally Xenoblade. It is 4 massive, massive open regions that you get to go out and pretty much explore wherever the hell you want to. For the most part, it starts off a bit linear, like most games do, and then it's just kind of like, oh, if you want to go east, go east. If you want to go north, go north. Just go wherever you want to. Do whatever it is. And it's great. It's so much fun. But at the same time, you're not confused on where to go. You're not lost. It lets you have the freedom to explore while still giving you the hand holding that you need. Because if you go out and explore for 10 hours or whatever, and then you're like, okay, I really do want to advance the story along. What do I do? Okay, let me just look at the quest. There's the quest. Okay, where is that? Okay, I see the quest marker on the map. I need to get to that point. So then you just do it. There are some hiccups, for lack of a better term, but I was in pretty close contact with the development team, and they assured me that they were working on fixes for the various hiccups that I encountered, such as the ladder issue that I had where I couldn't climb ladders. Well, I could. It just took 30 freaking seconds for the game to realize, oh, you actually want to climb this ladder that you've been running into for the last 30 seconds? Yeah, I do. Or placing items which would like get placed underground, or literally getting trapped and warped underground, and then I had to fast travel out of there. So yeah. And then there were some times where I was just like, ugh, I don't want to go crafting again because I don't know, maybe I was doing something wrong. I don't know, but it was like you had to craft everything individually. And it was like, in order to craft something, it was like, you have to go ahead and choose what you want to. You have to choose what you want to craft. Have a cutscene of dancing around, floating on down. She grabs it. Then you have to choose the little ore that you want, and then you have to go and you have to like decide what quality you want. Then you have to go through the auto crafting of it all, and then you have to actually say after all that, then you say, yeah, I actually want to craft it, which is a totally different menu. Then she has to dance around again. And it's like, oh my God. And it takes like 1 minute to craft a thing. And it's like a lot of the times if you go to the Atelier, you got to craft like 20 different things because you've been out exploring and gaining all these recipes. So you're there for a good 20 something minutes, just dancing around and crafting. When if it would be great to just be able to highlight them all and just say, yes, I want all of these at best quality, make them done. The end.
And you had a very different experience than me on the crafting. Whenever I was recording footage for Taylor, I did a complete manual craft of one of the higher level items, and it was about 15 minutes.
Yeah,
for me to like just go through and like put in each thing and like choose the right things and making sure that the traits matched up and the resonances and the mana and all that stuff, which it never really explains that stuff, and it takes a long time and it's very involved if you want it to be. But,
if you want it to be, but that's why I was just like, screw this. I'm letting the game do it for me, you know?
And they significantly improved that. The auto crafting actually works correctly in this. Where like previously in the Rise and stuff, it would just put like random shit in there, and some would be like high quality or low quality or different things. And so they've definitely improved that quality of life aspect.
Well, that's good. So one comment we got a lot, both on the review and when I put my post up, was, is this a good entry point? So what do you think, Jack? Is if someone's never played an Atelier game, they don't know anything about the series, can they just jump in here? And is this like a good one to start with?
This is the best entry point because it's just a JRPG. I mean, it's not an Atelier game, and it is not an introduction to the Atelier series. So if you want to play this and then work your way backwards through the series, you're going to find that they're completely different. But just, you don't need to have played anything else to be able to jump into this. It's great.
Yeah, this is like you're playing a Trails game or anything. It's not like you need to play Sky and then play Crossbell and then play Erebonia or whatever. It's it's Atelier. Yeah, play Yumia. You'll enjoy it. If you like Xenoblade, you'll love this. This is Xenoblade Light. That's the best way to explain this. This is Xenoblade with a pretty girl in a pencil skirt. That's what this is.
Now, when you say that, what do you mean, David? Because like people have very different things they think of when they think about Xenoblade. So when you
Well,
say
the
that, in
combat
what
is pretty
ways?
much action, just like Xenoblade is. Just like where Xenoblade, like you get in front of the enemy, you do an auto attack, and then you click your little arts and your skills or whatever. It's the same thing here. You know, you get in front of the enemy, and then you click your skills, and everything has a cooldown. And it's all about exploring. It's all about getting to the next area and dispelling the mana. It's all about discovering new things, the treasure troves and the caves and the little inlets and the campsites. There's discovery points. There's pioneering quests where it tells you how much of the world or the land or the region you have explored, what percentage you've explored. Like, it's just like Xenoblade. It's literally just like Xenoblade. It's really fantastic.
Okay. So here's an interesting question that just popped up in the chat, and I feel like I might be able to provide some insight. But so Ragos Pantaleon, oh my god, I butchered that. He had to pick
Ragos,
one this week.
Which Xenoblade? Xenoblade X or Xenoblade 1?
I'm assuming he's saying X because it came out this week. That's my guess.
I want to know from him.
Okay, but let's assume X because they're both basically coming out one after the other this week. So Xenoblade X Definitive Edition or Yumia, and I know David, you kind of, so he did say X. Okay, so he meant X. So I know David, you've kind of dabbled in X, and then obviously you beat Yumia. So if you had to suggest one,
if I had to suggest one, and you could only buy one, I'm a sucker for Xenoblade. I would go for Xenoblade just because it has flying and it's so freaking cool and it has all the different characters and it's Xenoblade and all that. But if you could buy them both, like buy them both. Or if you can get one on sale, and you know this is Atelier, it's going to go on sale. Like, these are fantastic, fantastic. So there's Xenoblade, the gold standard, and then this is Xenoblade Light. This is the Xenoblade that we have at home, but it's not that bad. It's like 90% there. It's really, really good. This is not some shit game. Like, a lot of people think of Atelier and they're like, oh, that's a little girl's game, whatever. Or they think of time limits, or they think of just standing around and talking and stuff. This is an action game, y'all. Like, this is exploring. This is kicking ass and taking names. And it's a good storyline too. Xenoblade Chronicles X doesn't have a great story either. But like it's good. It's good. It's good. Yeah.
Jack, I know this is probably a silly question, but I know you don't have a Switch, but did you ever play Xenoblade X on the Wii U? I
do have a Switch.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah,
okay,
I
never
just
mind.
Never play it.
Okay.
I have tried so many times to get into Xenoblade, and I think I've bought all of the base games, and then every time that I try to play them, I end up getting like 2 or 3 hours in, and I'm just like, I don't get hooked. They've just never clicked for me. And so to me, I mean, I was hooked on Yumia right from the get-go. So my recommendation goes to Yumia.
Do you see the similarities between the two, at least, though?
Yes, I do. And especially as you said it kind of clicked for me more of like, you have skills that are on cooldown. You don't really have an auto attack. You're not like hitting things. You just use the skills. And yeah, that actually checks out. This is very similar to Xenoblade.
Yeah, the combat's 100%. The open regions, all the fast travel points. It's just like Xenoblade. It really is.
For whatever reason, though, Xenoblade just never grabbed me. But maybe all that Xenoblade needs is a pretty girl in a pencil skirt, and I would be there. It might be it. I don't know.
Well,
I'm a simple man.
Xenoblade had Naked Shulk for me, and then Naked Dunban, so I was okay from the get-go. So,
yeah. Well, I've only played maybe an hour of the demo of Yumi, but I did beat Xenoblade on the Wii U, and my biggest problem with that game is the way it gates off the story. Now, I don't know if they've changed this in the remaster, but basically, you can't continue with the main story in Xenoblade X until you hit certain levels. Like, oh, you can't do the next story quest until you're level 30. So they did get rid of that. Okay, cool. So that was the thing I hated the most. I'm like, fuck, I got to go out and just grind and do random nonsense. But thank God they got rid of that. But honestly, just for my pick, I'm picking, I think between those two, I'm picking up Yumia because I'm like Jack. I have weakness for cute waifus and exploring. So that's going to be my pick. But for the general audience, I think they'll probably enjoy Xenoblade X more. It's just a giant open world. It looks amazing on Switch. Like I was watching reviews, I'm like, I can't believe this is running on Switch. And then you have giant mechs. We have a donation that I want to read. Thank you, Future Millionaire, for the dono. He said, good evening, gentlemen. With Persona 4 Remake on the horizon, do you guys suggest I wait to play the remake or just play Golden? Ooh, that's an interesting question. I guess it depends. Well, I mean, the remake is going to be way better, I'm sure. But it depends on if you want to see how they change it. Because I know for a lot of people, like when Final Fantasy VII Remake was coming out, I'm like, I think it's worth playing the original just to see how they change it in the remake. Although I imagine the remake for Persona 4 is going to be a lot more faithful than what they did with the Final Fantasy VII Remake games.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jack, what do you think? Do you think he should play the OG first or just dive in with the remake?
I'd say it really depends on how much time you have. Because like Final Fantasy VII, the original Final Fantasy VII is like 30 hours door to door on that.
Yeah.
But like Persona 4 Golden is, depending on how deep you want to go into it, that's a 100-hour game. You know, like it's really, and if you have the time, it's really great. Like I know everybody here loves Persona 4 Golden.
My favorite game.
It. Yeah, right. And so like if you have the time for it, it's really good. And I'm sure that the remake is going to be really good too. So it's really just down to your time.
Yeah. What do you think, David?
I would say it depends on your backlog. Number one, it depends on your backlog of what you have planned to do. It also depends on your time. Personally, I would wait on the remake itself because of just the way that the Persona games are created, where there's a lot of reading, there's a lot of social links, there's a lot of test questions at the school and, stuff like that, where do you really want to read those things twice within the next, I don't know, year? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you want to sit there and read the same dialogue over and over and over again? That's really where it would get with me. So I would wait on the remake myself, personally. And then also to answer Goober's question, all the bromides are being left in the game. I never said they're being taken out of the
game. Yeah, I guess for me, I think I would probably also like echo Jack's question. It depends on how much time you have. I always think with remakes, it's really fun to see how they've changed, like even with Romancing Saga 2, and everyone knows how much I love Saga, but I played the original Romancing Saga 2, but I love the remake. They changed so much.
It's a completely different game.
Oh yeah. And to be fair, I actually enjoyed Romancing Saga, the original Romancing Saga 2. It just doesn't tell you where to go. And like I very specifically remember playing the remake, and I was like, okay, what is it like? I'm at this part where I got stuck last time. What are they gonna do? And I just didn't get stuck. It just happily flows you right into the next part. But the most annoying mechanic in that game where you have to kill a party member if you want to add a new one. That was so stupid. I don't know why that was in the original game, but now they change it. But anyway, it doesn't matter.
It's so much better.
So much easier. So I guess to answer the question, I think it's fun to play the original and then the remake just to see how it's changed. But with the way Atlas remade Persona 3 Reload, it's basically the same game. So if your time is limited, just wait. But if you got the time, I would play both. That would be my suggestion.
It really comes down to your time. It really honestly does. That's about it.
Oh, God.
Your time and your backlog and what else you got going on.
You need to play Ephemeral Fantasia. It's awful. It
sucks.
It's one of
why you're recommending that game.
Isual likes to play these D tier JRPGs and talk about them in the Discord. Yeah, that's like an F tier game. I played it. I was like, I remember playing the guitar mini game for the first time, and it doesn't tell you how to play it. And I missed every single note the first time you do the little mini game. I'm like, what the fuck is this? It's so bad. It's
so bad. I got that for $1.99 at Blockbuster because nobody was renting it. So they put it on like a for sale shelf, and it was $1.99. I picked it up and went home, played it for 30 minutes. And I was like, what the hell is this? I never played it again. It was so terrible.
Ooh. Well, I got it for free 99 on the high seas, if you know what I mean.
Oh, I got you. I think I still have a copy back there. Gosh.
Have you had the misfortune of playing Ephemeral Fantasia, Jack?
No, thankfully I have not. I'm so glad that I missed that one.
Yeah, you dodged a bullet there. It's not good. It's bad. It's real bad.
It's Groundhog Day, the game. You just did the same thing over and over and over again.
When that happened, I was like, this went from being like one of the worst games on PS2 to the worst. I couldn't believe they made you did a loop. I was like, that's crazy. I can't believe
like Loop 8.
Oh God, one of the worst.
How does Loop 8 get published and Aren't Fantasia and Penny Blood don't? How?
Right?
Answer this. How?
Right? What universe are we living in? Oh my God. Okay, here's an interesting question. So this comes from Sneedus Aurelius on Discord. He says, do you think Yumia will get 3 games like Ryza did? And any sales predictions for Yumia? Yeah, so David, we'll kick it to you first. What do you think? Sales predictions, and do you think it'll make a trilogy out of it?
I think it's going to sell very well. People liked Ryza. The Ryza trilogy sold over 500,000 copies. Ryza saved the series, and Yumia is following in her footsteps, where Ryza 3 started that open world Xenoblade sort of thing. They're doing the same thing here with Yumia, and so they're taking what worked with Ryza and they're going with it. They're rolling with it. They learned. I love it when companies learn, when they find out that something is going really well and they keep on doing it. They're giving gamers what they want. It's about time these companies learn that, because some companies who remain nameless decide, oh, well, we made this great game. Let's make the next entry completely 180 degrees different from the last entry. Oh, well, nobody likes this entry. I wonder why. Well, maybe because you changed it all. No, they're learning. So I think that they're doing it. And I also think that, yes, they're setting this up for a trilogy. Atelier is known, the whole series is known for multiple games in the series. Even Sophie got a sequel, and the first Sophie came out like a hell of a long time ago, and the sequel comes out or whatever. And if not following Yumia, it might follow in the same universe of it or whatever. Like they have like that mystery thing, or the Dusk trilogy, where it follows different alchemists, but they're in the same universe, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't beat it yet. Like, does the ending? I mean, don't spoil anything.
I'm not spoiling anything.
But does the ending leave enough room for another game? I guess.
What
do you think?
Say? There's room for it, but it doesn't do like a cliffhanger.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, I think that there will be a trilogy. I'm just gonna leave it. I don't want to do any spoilers. No one in the comments can yell at me for spoilers. Yeah. I think that there will be a trilogy. That's all I'm gonna say. So yeah.
Cool.
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they take this back to what they've done before, like you were just saying, with different alchemists in the same universe.
Yeah.
And the biggest reason that I think that is because Yumia's got no fucking riz. Like, she is not a captivating character. And
She's
I'm not
a leafy little wallflower.
Right. Like, she's fine, but she, like, Ryza had personality right from the get-go.
Yep.
And like, even from game one, like, you care about her town, you care about her parents, you care about her friends and what's going on in her life and stuff. I don't get that feeling from Yumia at all. She felt more like the delivery device for the story and for the world that they're building.
He's just
rather than the focus. Yeah, right. Like, she was the spoon for the ice cream, right? The story in the game was the ice cream, but she was just the spoon. Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised if they keep the world, because they've done a ton of world building in this game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really good.
It's a cool world.
Very much. And then they pass the baton to hopefully a more interesting character.
Well, I mean, I don't know why they took Ryza, who everybody loved, and she was bubbly and she was cute and everybody liked her and she was fun and she was sparkly, and then they took this girl in drab gray and black and brown and they made her personality just as freaking drab. Like, why? Like, what are you thinking? Like, her entire personality is so misunderstood. Oh, please like me, please. That's it. That's it. That's all you get.
Yeah, I I really hope that they either give her a serious makeover, like personality wise, or they pass the baton on.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, that's that's a bummer to hear. Yeah, because yeah, Ryza. I mean, she was like the whole thing was like, let's have an adventure. I mean, the first game at least. I haven't played 3, but the first one was like, hey, it's the summer. Let's have an adventure. So she's like getting all her friends together and like forcing it all. And now, yeah, like you said, from what I saw the demo, it seems like the opposite, where they need her help because she's the last alchemist or whatever.
Yeah, so she's almost not wanting to come along, but she's almost forced to, you know. I mean, she goes along willingly enough, but yeah, yeah.
I mean, I think it'll sell well. I think putting out that demo helped. I don't know. I haven't played the full demo. It doesn't seem buggy so far, but I know you guys had a lot of bugs and issues in the pre-release versions.
Copies.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you got to give them a little bit of grace, and they did fix a lot of the bugs that were happening. And I have played the game a little bit since the demo came out, and it is easier to climb ladders. I will say that much. So
yeah,
that's good.
They fixed the mana geyser issue as well, so I was able to get to those. They're one of the main quests at the end, like the last pioneering quest, just refused to trigger for me, and so like that was a really big bummer there at the end. But again, I assume because the Gus games in the past, the Atelier games in the past, are generally pretty bug-free. So I'm assuming that the actual release copy will be cleaned up and free of those issues, and it'll just have all the good with none of the bad.
Here's hoping, because I've had issues with Atelier games in the past, but I would say it's been like strictly on Switch. Like I remember I played Atelier Meru when they released that, and there was this part in the game, every time this particular story cutscene came up, it would just crash the game, like every single time. I like literally couldn't play the game until they patched it, which sucked. But it doesn't sound like there's any hard locks like that. I heard people were having issues with like loading screens. Like I saw on the Discord, David, some people were having loading screens and it would crash the game.
Was having a crash at the loading screen. Kaseki Nut had something about an elevator wouldn't activate for him. But all of us were in close contact with the development team. We're all emailing them about our issues. So I think that they're getting them ironed out. I know for a fact that the development team personally emailed me and told me that there was a day 1 patch for all the issues that I personally reported. So I can report on what I reported. So
no, that's good. And I like that you do that. Like you have a history of doing that. And I think that helps, because sometimes reviewers are like, I'm just going to review the game and not say anything. But it's like,
no, I want the game to be as best as it can be. I don't want them to release Garbo. No, release a good game. And if I have to be the unpaid quality control tester to do it, I will take one for the team.
For sure. Okay, let me see if we've got other questions here as far as Yumia goes. Okay. Oh, it says, after playing through the Ryza trilogy, I'm interested in how Yumia will add to the Atelier formula, especially the combat. Now, I didn't play Ryza 3, but did Ryza 3 have combat like this, or did this combat more come from that Fairy Tail game that they put out recently?
Ryza 3 was hectic, but it was more of a turn-based hectic. This is more of an action hectic. This is more Xenoblade. At least Ryza 3 still had turns. And this is action. This is action.
Yeah, the Ryza games, and especially Ryza 3, were closer to like an ATB kind of thing, where like it is constant and it is hectic and it is always going, but you're controlling all of the different characters and you're doing skills, or you can do basic attacks and whatever else. This feels, like David said, Xenoblade. This is action. You're only controlling one character at a time. The rest of your team is doing their own thing. It's definitely an evolution in the game.
And the things, Ryza 3 felt action while still being turn-based. It was so hectic, it felt action. Yeah. But here they just went straight action.
Yeah, it seems. Is there a difficulty slider? Because I was playing the demo and I'm like killing guys in like 2 hits. It's super easy, and all the reviews said the game's really easy. Like, can you
I think
increase
that
the
there
difficulty at
were
all?
Were there 3 or 5 difficulty? I don't remember. I think that there was 3 difficulty levels.
There are 4, and then you
Was it
unlock
4?
a 5th
Okay,
after you finish the game, right? But so Taylor, in some of the footage, I had to turn the difficulty to the post-game difficulty so that I could capture a combat that was longer than 30 seconds, so that you would have like some actual footage to work with, right? Because like it is pretty easy. I had it set on the hardest difficulty from very early on, and I was still just like one-shotting enemies, and it's not hard.
Yeah. But also, like, you can go through and you can end up gaining 5 levels in one random trash mob thing, because I personally I felt it was very easy. So I was just like avoiding a ton of monsters.
Yeah.
And then I got into a brand new region. I was like, oh, I guess I'll fight some monsters. And then I got into a fight with them. It was like, boom, gained 5 levels. I'm like, wow, maybe I should have fought some monsters in the previous area. But I was just like, the battles are so easy. Who cares? So
So because I had I couldn't get to the mana geyser, so I couldn't get the particles to upgrade the blueprints, right? And so I actually thought that the only way that the game intended for you to get the particles was through fighting. And so I ended up hitting max level before the end of the second area because I was just trying to get particles the whole time. And so, yeah, like obviously the rest of the game, fortunately, the game levels up the enemies with you. And so even though you're at max level, you're not just stomping everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
Interesting.
not hard.
No, it's easy Atelier. Yeah.
It's an Atelier game.
Yeah, but even like the previous ones, there was some challenge. Like this one, I feel like you could literally face roll the game. You could just rub your face across the controller and win. Like
a bit, especially once you get used to the dodging and the tells and stuff.
Yeah.
But you can die, and especially if you have it on a harder difficulty, your teammates are not smart.
Okay.
And so like they can just stand in the middle of an attack that's being telegraphed and just get wiped out. So
Yeah.
you can die.
You can die, but also even if you do die, a reserve character immediately swaps in for them, and since there are 6 party members, then you pretty much have 3 get out of jail free cards essentially.
Yeah.
And then you just heal up after battle. So yeah,
exactly.
Got it. Cool. Well, that's pretty much all the questions we got for Yumia, but I did want to briefly talk about Xenoblade. I know there's not much to talk about. I know we haven't played a lot, but I beat the Wii U version. David, did you play the Wii U version of?
I did not play the Wii U version.
Oh, you
I
didn't
even own a Wii U because I was waiting for them to have at least like 5 games on there for them for. So I've been burned on console purchases before, where I'm like, whenever the Xbox 360 first came out, it looked like that was going to be the RPG console because all the RPGs were coming out for the Xbox 360, and then they just like all of a sudden quit, and then the PS3 started getting a whole bunch of RPGs. So I felt like, okay, I got like bait and switch thing sort of here with the Xbox 360, and then I bought the PlayStation Vita, same sort of thing. I thought they were going to support it just like the PSP, and then the support just kind of like fell through. And I'm like, oh, I got burned on the Vita too. I mean, I think the only really exclusive on there that I really played and enjoyed was Tales of Hearts, which I'm shocked for that port, by the way. But anyway, so then when the Wii U came out, I was like, I'm going to be damned if I'm going to get screwed again. I'm going to wait. As much as I want Xenoblade X, I'm going to wait until they have at least like 5 RPGs on it. And I was like, that's Nintendo. Of course they're going to have some games on it. It's not going to fail. Famous.
Yeah. And then it did. Yeah, I kind of did the same thing, but there were other exclusives. Like there was Bayonetta 2, and then I think Wind Waker HD. I never played Wind Waker, so I wanted to play that. But yeah, I sat through this one, and I'm kind of with Jack, where like I've beat every Xenoblade game, but none of them. I'm almost like hate playing them, just so I can say like, no, I've beat them, and like. Yeah, just because people are like it's the best thing ever. I'm like, it's fine. Like
I love Xenoblade.
that's I'm happy for you. They're just
Yeah.
they're not for me.
Okay.
And this one, I actually think this is, if it weren't for the level gating, this would probably be the best one. And I'm so glad to hear they got rid of that in the definitive edition, because
Yeah.
now you can just kind of enjoy it more seamlessly. Like look at how far and high you can jump. There's no fall
Oh, it's
damage.
very floaty. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah, exploring the world is so much fun because it's gigantic, and you can make your own character, which is cool. You don't have to have, like cringy Rex or any of these other pre-made
Yeah.
guys.
So full disclosure, I was gifted a code by Nintendo to play this game, so I have played at this point maybe 2 or 3 hours of Xenoblade Chronicles X, and I am thoroughly enjoying what I have played. So yeah, I can comment a little bit on it, but I do know that they got rid of the blade levels, so that is gone. I do know that you no longer have to go through New LA to find all of your characters. You could just change them in the menu, so you don't have to do that. All your party members level up with you. They share experience, so you don't have to juggle characters.
Nice.
So they did put in a lot of quality of life features.
That's good. No, that's great. And Monolith tends to do that with their games. Like I remember when they remade the original Xenoblade, it was like a totally different game. Like they fixed the map, they made stuff way easier to just find. And yeah, it sounds like they did it here. Obviously fixing the faces. The faces were so bad in the Wii U version. So they completely redid like the visuals, at least with the faces. And that's what I called the Xenoblade Chronicles, the original remake. I called it Xenoblade, the Better Faces edition. And it seems like they did that here. And I think one thing to keep in mind, though, like they have they call them skells in the game, the giant robots. They're on the cover. It takes a minute to get them. You don't get them right at the beginning or even like 5 hours in. I want to say it takes like 20
I was looking it
hours.
up, and they said it takes about 20 hours. Because I was thinking to myself, I can't wait till I can get these skulls and fly around. I wonder how long it takes. So I was like, 20 hours? Oh, come on. I want to do it right away. So,
yeah. But I mean, I think the game is still fun on its own. Like just the footage we're watching right now, like just running around the world's fun. Like there's so much to explore and find.
That's what I
and
love about Xenoblade and just RPGs in general, is exploring. I always love exploration in RPGs, so that's why I like the Xenoblade series so much, because it really focuses on that.
Oh yeah, and I think it's the best here, especially because of the skells. Because you can, there's so much of the world that you can explore on foot, and there's so much you can't. And then when you get the skells, it's just like, oh my god, it's like a whole second game basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you like exploring, like this is your game. Because you can like customize your skell with different, like how it looks and different weapons. And now there's like a first person like pilot mode, so you can like fly around. And I saw somebody comment on this on Twitter, but it's like, it's amazing how a game like this, running on the Switch, you can just be in this giant open world and then just take off and start flying, and it all loads seamlessly. And then we have these big Western AAA games like Starfield, and they can't get stuff like that to work.
There is a particular company who shall remain nameless, who is currently working on the third part of a very famous game that will feature the airship called the Highwind very prominently. And their biggest problem, they have come out and they said their biggest problem is, we don't know how to create the fidelity of the world and the size and the scope of the world with the airship. We can't figure this out. Well, Monolith Soft figured it out on the Wii U. Figure it out, people.
Yeah, exactly. So
they were even saying, like, maybe we need to make runways so the Highwind can only land on runways. And I'm like, no, maybe you should hire Monolith Soft. I don't know. Just
yeah, I'm going to be very curious to see how they make that work in part 3 of the remake. But anyway, yeah, I mean, if anybody has any reservations about Xenoblade, it sounds like they fixed it up. It's a great game. I mean, the game's long too. Like I think when I beat it on the Wii U, it took me like 80 something hours.
All these Xenoblade games are ridiculous. Yeah,
they're always really long. But there's just so much content in this game, and they added like, I don't know if they changed the ending or if they added more of the ending, but the ending it's like a crazy cliffhanger in the original game. So I don't know if they just continue the ending or if they change it so it's not so much of a cliffhanger.
I think that they're just I think that they're going to change it so that it just flows and it doesn't really end there. It just keeps on going.
Okay.
That's the way I read it. Yeah.
Because that's what they did with Xenoblade Definitive Edition. They added like this whole prologue, and so that's the other thing that I like about when Monolith redoes these games. It's not just some like, oh, we're gonna remaster the visuals and call it a day. Like they fix it, they add tons of content. So
it's
even
not a
if you-
cheap cash grab like some other
Mm.
companies who remake their games every 2 years.
Yeah, no, exactly. And like,
I'm calling people out left and right.
hey, everyone's catching strays today.
Yep.
Make it happen. But no, it's good. So even if people have played the Wii U version, I think it's worth buying again just for the the quality of life and the extra content. So
I agree.
yeah. But that's gonna. I mean, I'll leave it open if anybody else has got questions. But that'll pretty much wrap it up. But yeah. So David, any final thoughts? Any last people you want to call out before we bid adieu?
Everyone's gonna hate me by the end of this. Yeah, all I've done is call out various companies, but like, no, for real. Some of the companies did get together. It's just like, yeah, okay, if your company can't figure out something that another company did, I don't know, pick up the phone and call them. Like, this shouldn't be a big secret. Share and share alike and ask questions and stuff. So I don't understand why they can't figure this out when other companies figured it out over a decade ago. I don't know.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but there's still lots of time left. Maybe they'll figure out the high wind. But yeah, it's crazy how badly Monolith puts to shame a lot of these developers. And now that they have the Switch 2, so they have more powerful hardware. I can't even imagine what they're gonna do on new hardware.
They found a 60 FPS mode in Xenoblade 2 in the, I don't know, game data or something. So they're saying that is an unlock feature for the Switch 2.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Wouldn't surprise me if there's a lot of those games that are just going to run way better on Switch 2. So that's cool. Jack, any final thoughts? Anything you want to share with the audience before we get on out of here?
I don't really have anything particular. I saw up here somebody had asked in the chat earlier about thoughts about a turn-based Warhammer 40K JRPG. And,
okay. Let me see if I can find that.
Yeah, Isuel talked about that. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, Warhammer 40K turn-based RPG. I mean, that would be cool. I mean, it's very hardcore sci-fi. I don't know anything really about the Warhammer 40K world. I used to do the miniatures like in elementary school, but I haven't engaged with that world in a long time. But
I've never even heard of Warhammer. I have no idea what that is.
Oh man.
Well, there you go.
So I mean, Rogue Trader came out a couple of years ago, and it's a CRPG style game and set in the Warhammer world. I loved it, but the Warhammer games are like, there are so many of them, and they're all made by different companies, and they're in different styles, and so it depends on who makes it, right? But if you guys don't know anything about Warhammer, then there's not a whole lot to talk about, is there?
Yeah, no. I mean, I know the different factions. Like, I know the Ultramarines and the Tyranids and stuff like that, but I don't know the deep lore of what's going on and why they're fighting or anything. I just know the Blood Angels and the Dark Angels. Like, I know who the factions, but that's where my knowledge ends.
Yeah.
Okay. I have zero knowledge. I don't know if we're talking about a movie. I don't know what the hell it is. I have no clue.
It's like a miniature table. It started as like a miniature tabletop kind of RPG game.
Board game. Okay.
Yeah. But they've like moved into video games. There was a game that came out last year, Space Marine 2, and it's like a action game. Pretty fun. I actually Jack, I bought it for Yumi because she wanted to play it, so she was playing that a little bit, and I was watching her play it. It's pretty cool.
It is.
And it looks great. I mean, visually, it looks amazing. This is an interesting question. I think we can all answer. So Mecha Otaku Gamer says, what's one JRPG you would want to be on Switch 2 that missed the Switch 1? There were so many that missed the Switch 1 just because it couldn't run stuff.
I think the obvious answer is Visions of Mana.
Ooh, Visions of Mana would be cool. Yeah, yeah, because I think Japan would support that and it would help the sales out. So yeah, Visions of Mana would be a good one. I don't know if any of the Final Fantasy VII remake games could run on Switch 2. I don't know like power wise what it's capable of, but
Maybe the first one, because the first one was on the PS4, and they said it was supposed to be like a
yeah,
portable PS4, so maybe. But at this point, going all the way back to the first one, whenever we're on the cusp of the third one, is kind of like, who knows? I feel like
yeah,
if they released the first one on Switch 2, they would also have to be able to release the subsequent games on the Switch 2 as well. It would just make sense.
yeah, yeah. Jack, what do you think? Anything you'd want on Switch 2? I mean, are you much of a handheld gamer at all?
Not really. And so honestly, like especially if I'm going to sit down to play an RPG, right? Like I'm blocking out a couple of hours at least. I'm going to be focused in. I want to have my nice TV. I want to have my sofa. I want to be able to just like really zone in. And so there's nothing that's going to come out multi-platform that I would choose to play on the Switch over PS5.
The only time that I play Switch handheld is whenever I'm on a flight or in the car or vacation or something. Yeah, mostly on a flight. That's about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually play handheld quite a bit. I'm probably the only one in the group that does it a lot just because, like, if I'm going to class and I have to wait for class to start, or if I'm on the subway, like, I know people always say the subway or the bus, but like, I actually do that quite a bit. But probably, I mean, obviously handheld something bite-sized. Like I see Mecca mention Grand Blue Fantasy. That would be, I mean, that's perfect for that because it's like, just do a couple, boss fights. Even like Persona 3 Reload will be cool. I mean, I played that basically on Steam Deck, but just for the extra sales, it'd be cool. I'm really trying to think of other games that didn't make it. This is a selfish one just because I just want this game to sell more, but I would love that PS4 Soccer Wars game on Switch 2 because they never put it on Switch 1, which made no sense, or even PC for that matter. I would just want that just to give it a second chance at life, but that I know that's probably not going to happen.
Probably not. No. You're grasping at straws there, Taylor.
Oh, I know. Trust me, I get it. But he asked, so that, I mean, I got to be the number one fan of that game. I talk about it every chance I get. But I know it's not a huge hit by any means. I think I even have been trying to get Jack to play, and it's just sitting on that PS5 waiting to play.
It's on the list, right?
Yeah.
Dragon's Dogma 2 might be an interesting one because I think that Dragon's Dogma 1 is available on Switch, but 2 would be probably a little bit too difficult for the Switch 1 to run. And so I think that's a good offline RPG action thing that you could just like throw in 30 minutes on the subway or whatever else.
Yeah. Ooh, someone said Metaphor. That'll be a good one.
That's another obvious one. Visions of Mana, Metaphor. Yeah.
I'm sure. I almost think Metaphor might be their day one. Like when because that direct is coming up soon. It's in a couple weeks.
Less than 2 weeks. It's April 2nd.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be shocked if we saw Metaphor at that thing.
Yeah, I think that we're going to see a lot of RPGs at that thing. I really do. I think we're going to see, a lot of RPGs. Obviously a Mario, the standards, all that will probably get something about Breath of the Wild or whatever, Zelda and all that, maybe a Metroid or something, but then it's going to be RPG time and it's going to be cool. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, there's so many rumored, I mean, we just talked about that Persona 4 Rewind or whatever they're going to call it. It might be too early, but I mean, I don't think it's off the table, or even, we've been talking about the Final Fantasy 9 remake, or
I think that's definitely happening. 100% April 2nd. They've got to at this point. They have to. They didn't reveal any. Square Enix was completely 100% absent at the last Sony State of Play. They didn't release. They didn't reveal anything at all. And like they got to reveal something because what do they have coming out this year? Dragon Quest 1 and 2. Square can't survive on just Dragon Quest 1 and 2. I mean, I love it as much as the next guy, but like, give me a break. You got to have something else. Like, come on now.
They're going to give you Various Day Life too. You're welcome.
You're going to take this game and you're going to play it and you're going to like it.
Oh my God. Various Day Life. What a dumb name.
It's so stupid. God.
Terrible name. Yeah, you're right. Like I don't know what their slate of games is for this year. Like we haven't seen anything. Speaking of Dragon Quest, Dragon Quest
nothing
12?
on 12 either. Nothing on 12.
Yeah. They announced
I
that
mean, I
thing like
know because
4 years ago
Akira
or
Toriyama
whatever.
died and all that. And I
Yeah.
also know that they said they're going to make it more adult, whatever that means. So I don't know what the hell is going on with that, but maybe I kind of doubt that we'll see something about Dragon Quest 12 at the Switch 2 thing. I think they're going to save that for their own Square Enix showcase, or maybe the Dragon Quest Day or something like that. Some really special thing where they can focus on, hey, Square is coming out with this, because it really is a big deal, especially in Japan. But I think it's time to get a 9 remake or the Tactics remake, but especially the 9 remake, for God's sakes.
Yeah, I know. That thing has been rumored for so long.
Like 2021, I think, was when that NVIDIA leak came out. It's been a hot minute. Yeah.
And everything, Kingdom Hearts 4 also, we have what's
It's been
going on
over
with
10
that?
years.
Yeah.
God.
I don't know why Square does that. They always show trailers for that thing way too early, and then people are like, hello?
That's what they did for 12 too. All they showed was like literally like a 12-second trailer for Dragon Quest 12, just showcasing the logo, and it's just like, okay, great.
Yeah.
Guys, we've hired a logo designer. Everything's smooth sailing.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're gonna be great. People are gonna love it. Cool. All right. Well, I think we'll just call it there. Appreciate everyone tuning in. David, thank you for staying up with us and
Of course.
Sharing your insights on Yumia. And Jack, thanks for coming on as well and for putting in lots of time into Yumia. But yeah, appreciate everyone watching, and we'll be back next week. I know, Jack, you're going to be moving into your shiny new house, so congrats on that.
Congratulations.
But I might be flying solo, or if David wants to come back, he's welcome.
We'll see.
Yeah, no promises, no pressure. But anyways, yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody. Thanks so much. Have a good night.